Ngombe. Hey guys, welcome back to the biggest agricultural platform in Namibia known as Nduna Ngombe, which means headman of cattle. My name, of course, Mitsu Mutumba Simata. I think I need to get a shirt printed Nduna Ngombe equals headman of cattle in English. But this is a shirt a friend of mine did for me a while back. It says I'm a cowaholic on the road to recovery. I'm just kidding, I'm gonna go buy more cows. So she did this a while back. Big shout outs to my friend Benji. I've had it for a minute. I think it's now a 2-3 years old or 4 years old shirt that I've had. So today, on the 13th of December 2022, I want to talk about how to take care of livestock during rainy season. Because I know, maybe not in all countrywide, but I know in most parts of Namibia, they've been getting rain. I know in the northeastern part of the country, they started receiving some rain there, that side too. Some thunder showers are happening, which is a very positive thing. And the rest of the country, I can see right now, when I look outside my window here in Windhoek, there's cloud buildup. So it's rainy season is coming. I know some parts of the country, it takes a bit longer than other parts. But let's talk about how to take care of your livestock during the rainy season. As you know, I'm never writing, so I got my trusted notebook here. It is true that rainy season is here and farmers are celebrating rains or laminating about the negative effects of the rain. Leaking sheds. When water leaks into the shed, it affects the animal's comfort. It does not matter whether you are keeping chickens, goats, pigs or cattle, etc. If the shed was not clean enough, the water leads to the production of chemicals such as pneumonia, which affects the eyes of animals, especially if it has no proper ventilation. It also causes irritations in the body. It's why the animal's eyes start swelling. So when your goats or sheep or cattle's eyes start swelling during the rainy season, it's irritations they're getting. Another disease called coccidiosis. Coccidiosis also occurs as a result of water leaking onto a dirty shed. Keep the shed clean. If you are keeping goats, you need to take even an extra effort to keep their hooves away from water, because water causes foot rotting disease among goats. So for goats, make sure that their pen is nice and dry and there's no standing water cause foot rotting disease. More grass is not so good. When the rains come, new young grass sprout up. This is very good for the animals. Animals easily pick at the soft grass and eat it up in big quantities. However, worth noting that this grass has a lot of water and little fiber, which is not good for the animals. Animals need fiber for proper digestion. The water fills up the stomach and yet it is virtually useless. Causes the animal to pass watery diarrhea during the wet season. I'm sure many have noted that I spoke about the livestock dung, so you can go check that video. So when there's green grass, very good. Animals eat huge quantity of it, but the grass has more water in it, and I think it has more of a vitamin that's a bit too high into it, which causes watery diarrhea, which is not good when you're doing livestock farming. Moisture, the more moisture, the more bacteria. Moisture on the ground produces a lot of bacteria that can cause disease, the most common of them being worms. During the wet season, therefore, farmers must stock a broad spectrum of dewormers. Worms, if not treated effectively, they can start affecting the animal's performance. Deworming must be done at the beginning of the raining season and throughout the season, because worms multiply more during this period. So beginning and during. So before the rains fall, you deworm. During the rainy season, you also deworm when you get a day of sun and you can get a few minutes to work your animals. So do your deworming. Ticks have a field day in the wet. Ticks are one of the most economical destabilizing cattle pests. They also spread faster during the rainy season too. If not treated, ticks can suck a cow dry and eventually lead to death because they spread diseases, anaplasmosis, tick bite flu, and so many things. This can come to fruition during this time. Disease of the udder. Disease of the udder also becomes more prevalent during this season. Note that when the udder is diseased, then you have lost animals. This disease is called udder maltitis. The udder swells and stops producing milk. Can be treated by using antibiotics. So very important you have that. Avoid mold or moldy feeds. If water gets into the stored feeds, they will develop molds, and when they are fed to animals in this state, they will carry bacteria. Gradually, the mold feeds can cause cancer. Make sure that the feeds are stored in dry places. I think this is why, particularly if you are storing hay, lucerne, you need to make sure that you store them in dry places. They don't get rain. You cover it up. The floor is concrete and probably has a drainage system. And also the shed you build, that the roofs are strong and they don't have any opening to cause leakages, because you don't want molds. Mold develops and gradually leads to your animals developing various cancers. Other common conditions. Because the ground is soft and wet, cows tend to slide and break their limbs. In addition, external elements entangled in between the hooves, like stones can get entangled in between the hooves, hence making it difficult for them to move. Make sure that all these are checked regularly. So those are the things that you need to pay attention to. I know some that wasn't mentioned here. You look at things like lumpy skin disease. I think it also starts right around before the rains come, because they bring biting insects that cause the cows to start developing lumps on their skin, so that can lead to it. So there are many illnesses that could be linked to the rainy season. As much as it's a blessing, it also means that it's more finances, and also means more management skills that are quite good as to manage the rainy season. Because as much as the rain comes, it brings growth, regeneration, greenery. It also brings illnesses that develop during wet seasons and prolonged wet seasons. So these are things that you need to look at, like it mentioned here, foot rot, eye illnesses, other illnesses. You know, your cows getting illnesses too. These things happen. Your cows passing off watery diarrhea. You know, pests developing, ticks, an explosion of ticks and flies. I know we don't have the tsetse fly, but in other countries where the tsetse fly is, it produces a sleeping illness in cattle. So these are the illnesses that we need to pay attention to. And so these are things that we need to really take heed to and really try to practice during this time of the rainy season. As much as we're happy that we're getting good rains, you need to pay attention to this.